Good evening and welcome to another edition of Resource PNG. This week we bring you a short report on the Oil Search-sponsored Daffodil Golf Cancer event in Port Moresby, as well as the second part of a panel discussion on taxation. The call for corporate support to convene for a worthy cause did not go in vain, as 40 business houses came together to help raise funds for cancer control programs. The Daffodil Cup Corporate Golf Challenge has been sponsored by Oil Search PNG Limited for the past 11 years, with this year being its 12th. Oil Search saw it fit to inject the funds to the Cancer Foundation of Papua New Guinea.
For Oil Search, we've been here for since 1929. And being a good corporate citizen, being here, we want to make sure that we put something back into the community. And the Oil Search Health Foundation was one way of trying to put something back into the community, into our immediate project areas, but also in the last couple of years we've sort of ventured out into other provinces as well through the Global Fund. The company has been involved with this tournament for the last 12 years. We took our operatorship from Chevron and decided that we were going to continue this worthy cause. And so for the last 12 years we've been involved. And recently we also extended that to Ley. And for the support that we've got both for Ley and Port Moresby has been overwhelming by the corporate entities, and which is really encouraging. What we are also doing is for Port Moresby, we initially used to just support the POM Cancer Relief Society, but this year we've decided that we are going to go nationwide, and so we've now established the PNG Cancer Foundation. So the efforts and activities that were undertaken by the POM Cancer Relief Society, we've now injected into the PNG Cancer Foundation. And it's really more for awareness of the disease itself. And, a lot of us have been impacted, by this through our, family or, their relatives we know, friends that we know. So, we want to at least, help, the company to help together with the support of the, corporate, clients. It's been a great, outcome for us. We are going to be here for the long haul, and we want to, make sure that we support both the PNG Cancer Foundation together with the Ley group that has also been doing a fantastic job over the last couple of years. And as I said, the Ley one really supports the Engau, hospital, and for us at the PNG Cancer Foundation, we can only help Ley and also at the same time support, going out, partnering with, entities like, Lipton Tea, with Colgate and others to, get a message out to the community.
A total of 152,000 kina was raised to assist the Cancer Foundation of PNG with its cancer control endeavours through its education and awareness programs in rural areas. The Foundation CEO, Dadi Toka Jr., said the funds will enable CFPNG to provide free cancer screenings at various locations around the country.
Most of the funds that we're raising this year will go towards awareness and the free screening programs that we do. So it's very important we raise as much money as we can. To conduct let's say a screening program in a town, in a setting, in any one day, it costs about 26,000 kina. So if you're raising over 120,000 today, you can that gives you a fair idea of how many programs we can conduct next year. During our early part of the year when we did mouth cancer screening in Port Moresby and Alatai, we screened I guess nearly 300 people, participants. So, and all in all, we've, these screening programs, they help us detect, early diagnosis for certain individuals in the country, well, especially Port Moresby and Alatai when we've conducted these screenings. So it gives them early warning signs towards mouth cancer. And we're only going to expand from that. We focus around mouth cancer, now we're going to expand to breast and, in the cervix.
Recent research by the PNG Institute of Medical Research suggests that around 10% of all deaths in Papua New Guinea are due to cancer, and that cervical, mouth and liver cancer are the biggest killers. Education and awareness have been identified as key drivers that can potentially alleviate the effects of the disease in the country. Stay with us. We'll be back after these short messages. Welcome back to the show. Now, last week we conducted a panel discussion with some of the senior researchers from the National Research Institute on taxation. This week we present to you part 2 of that discussion. In this segment we discuss the rationale behind tax holidays given to resource sectors and also the key outcomes of the tax symposium and the way forward.
Dr. Sanida, tax holidays provided to resource projects are examples of tax incentives by the government that are more controversial in the current tax system in PNG. Why is this controversial?
Thank you. As you have just mentioned, tax holiday is a form of tax incentives, but let's know what a tax incentive is. So tax incentives are basically favorable conditions in terms of tax to particular activities or a sector which is different from the general tax environment. So basically that's what a tax incentives, and one of them is a tax holiday. So tax holiday is basically, as the name suggests, is you have a holiday, you have a break from paying tax for a certain period of time. So the other two forms of the incentives for the resource companies can be in the form of reduction in the rate of tax, or you get a complete you don't pay the tax exempt. So tax holiday is one of the incentives for companies involved in the resource sector. And now the question is, what is the rationale behind a tax holiday? In general terms, tax holidays are offered to attract investment. You know, when I discussed about economic growth, one of the factors of production is capital. And generally, with the resource projects, we do not have the capital within the economy. So what do? We need this capital from abroad in order for these big projects to go ahead. So tax holidays are a form of incentive to attract foreign direct investment, so that investment can come into the economy and we can have these big resource projects go ahead. So that's basically the rationale. Now, if you talk about the effect of a tax holiday, you can understand this from, like, for whom you are talking about. In terms of the companies, it's good for them because obviously they have a break from paying tax. But when you look at from the economy perspective, the positive is that you are able to attract the investment to come into the economy. But it's controversial because when there is a holiday, there is an opportunity cost involved. By choosing the tax holiday, you forgo the tax revenue that's supposed to come from this resource. So that's so you can see it's both positive and negative. But from the symposium and the papers that we have, there is a general sort of theme that tax holidays should be done away with, because sometimes you can have tax holidays that go on for an indefinite period, right? and the government or the people missing out on the revenue that's supposed to be. What, in my opinion, should happen is to, and some of the suggestions from the symposium is to reduce the taxes that companies pay, so that, because I think one of the reasons why tax holidays imposed is because there's a perception that the corporate taxes are too high, therefore the companies ask for a holiday. But if you reduce the tax rate to a certain acceptable level, then companies, so you have both reduction in the tax, but we still impose the tax, and so the revenue, tax revenue, still we still get tax revenue. So that's basically the controversy, the pros and cons of a tax holiday.
So, Dr. Odongo, finally, what are the key outcomes of the Tech Symposium and the way forward?
Yeah, the symposium, it was basically meant for the researchers to present their reports and for people to discuss and see the way forward. The issues that came out, if you look at the personal income tax, for example, I think there was a general concern that the top income earners are paying way too high. I think it's almost 48% for the non-residents. It is very high compared to the rest, where the top rate is 30%. The other question surrounding the personal income tax is for the middle income earners. Some of these guys are the ones who are investing in small businesses, small enterprises. Now, when their businesses also earn some income, they're also paying taxes on business. And the way tax is calculated is that if their businesses are not incorporated as a company or a limited company by shares, then it means there's very little distinction between the individual and his business, his or her business. So they will take the income that you earn from the employment, add it to the income that you earn from business, and then calculate the tax based on that. That's done normally at the end of the year when you do your annual return to the IRC, Inland Revenue. When you do the calculation, you will find that the tax you're going to pay will be higher than someone who only has a business and is not employed. I mean, he doesn't earn employment income but only has a business that is running. So the tax will be lower for this guy. The person who is employed and also has a business, you know, he's sacrificing more because he has to spare some time to go to work and spare some time also to oversee his business. Yet the tax is too high when you combine the two incomes. So the consensus was that perhaps the government can reduce the rate of taxation of the top income earners to around 30% or even 25%, and treat the incomes differently. The income that somebody earns from his business should be treated as a business income, and the tax paid according to the rates for businesses, and separate that from the employment income. So that way, at least people will be on the same level. The one with the business only, and then who runs a business and has employment. So there shouldn't be any conflict or any feeling that somebody is overburdened paying tax twice. The other one was on, as my colleague has mentioned, on the corporation taxes. Some companies are paying too high. I think some of the mining and petroleum companies, they pay as high as 50% of the tax on the profits or the income. Others are only paying 30%. Some companies, for example, the foreign companies that only have maybe branches or representatives locally, they pay as much as 48% of their income in taxes. So these varied categories of taxation create some confusion because all of them are companies, but there are very different rates of taxation that people pay here and there. So for some reason, it has been evolving like that over time, and you will find that some of these people who are paying lower taxes or paying 50% tax, they already have those concessions and holidays. So effectively, that rate, no one is paying it. It's just in record because they've already got a very big tax break, which means even if they are charged 50%, it's like they're not feeling the pinch. But the others who don't have the holiday are paying only 30%, will be feeling the pinch because they don't have a break. So those kind of multiple taxes and different rates here and there, the consensus, I think, was that people should, the government should kind of harmonize the taxation. If it is company taxation, companies should be kind of treated the same. The break should be given in an even manner, not favoring, not to be seen to be favoring certain sectors of the economy. Everyone should feel valued and taxed fairly.
We continue with Dr. Oduno's response to the outcomes of the tax symposium and the way forward after this short break. Welcome back. You're with Resource PNG, and we're speaking to National Research Institute's Senior Research Fellow of the Economics Policy Program, Dr. Oduno, on the key outcomes of the tax symposium and the way forward.
The other one was, I think, to do with the other taxes, which are not, they're really not taxes as such. They're non-tax revenues. For example, there is what we call the environmental taxes. It's a controversial one because there are certain issues that probably in PNG it doesn't come to be an issue like carbon taxes. I think over there across in Australia it was an issue and it was just removed the other day. So here we said PNG is not ripe for introducing such kinds of taxes. So that one was kind of shelved. But there are other areas of how to protect the environment. For example, pollution. People are throwing litter all over. So how do we deal with this environmental damage? The issue agreed there was we should at least have some kind of penalties for the polluters in terms of a percentage of fees they pay for damaging the environment. And the main reason is not to generate revenue, but to act as a deterrent for doing the harm to the environment. For example, in motor vehicles, I think currently PNG, you can import any vehicle, however old, but some of the very old vehicles are emitting a lot of fumes, which are toxic to the environment. So one of the issues was if the government can consider banning the importation of vehicles that are over 10 years old, because those vehicles are not very good. They can come here reconditioned, but within a short time, they are back to their usual level where they emit a lot of smoke here and there. So it's costly to the environment and costly to the health of the people. But if they are banned or you impose higher taxation, for example, charging even 100% of duty on them, that should act as a deterrent for people not to bring in very old vehicles, for people not to bring to use or to litter here and there. The issue of littering comes to the plastic bags and plastic bottles. What do we do with them? In PNG, I think we don't have recycling. So all the plastic bottles and plastic wastes, they are all over the dump sites and even in the suburbs. So the question is how to control the use of the plastic bags, and one of the ways of controlling that is to impose some fees on those who use them. But it's an area that is going to be tricky for people to do, because most of the supermarkets or departmental stores, they use these to package goods that people buy. If they impose some charges on the bags, it may not work easily with the supermarket because they want to package it will be hard for people to be carrying their own bags, go to the supermarket, check out, and then you pack your things. So it's convenient for them, but again, it is harmful to the environment. So there's really some issues to think about how to control it. But fees is certainly one of them. You pay fees for using them. That's another area. Another area was on the GST, goods and services tax. Currently, I think GST collected from various regions or various provinces. It comes to the central government, then it is shared again at some rates. I think it was 40% goes back to the provinces where it came from. But the suggestion was that it should be changed to 60% to go back to the provinces, because that is the origin of the GST money. So the provinces that are generating more should not feel the pinch that they are giving away a lot. They should get back a fair share of what they collect. So 60%, I think our researchers were of the opinion that 60% was a good rate to return to the provinces. The remaining 40% to be shared between the central government should get 20%, maybe to add to the other GST they collect on imports, because that goes straight to the central government. The remaining 20% was to be put into kind of a trust account. A trust account would work especially for the provinces that are not really economically active, because we know some of the provinces, they really don't have a lot of activities, so the GST from there is very minimal. Sometimes I think it's even nil, very little. The main reason is most people would come maybe to Port Moresby or go to Lae to buy the goods. So the GST will have originated from here, yet the people are living in Central. So they go back to Central, they don't buy goods in Central, they come to Port Moresby to buy their goods. The same with other neighboring provinces around Lae. The people will travel across the province, go and buy your goods from Lae, and then you go back. In that case, the GST is recorded in Lae, yet the people are living on the other side. So how do the people in the fringe provinces where there's no much of business activity get helped? This is where the 20% of the GST collection should be in a trust account, so the only to support the underdeveloped, so to speak, provinces to get also to be uplifted in the economic development. Because if you leave them like that, they will not grow. They will not grow. They can't depend on the revenue distribution from the budget alone, because GST is a big component as well. So they should also get a share of the GST with support. You know, you support your brother, support your sister. So that's the one-talk system. It should also work throughout the entire community. The richer provinces should be able to not feel shy of sharing the GST they generate with the poor ones. So those are the kind of, I think, the things that came up on the various issues of taxes. So, yeah, but the way forward now is, after that, of course, we already gave the tax review committee and the secretariat all those papers, so they have an idea of what the researchers are saying. So I think they are using those ones now to develop their own issues papers and distribute also for a wider consultation. So we are going to put up the final papers maybe on our website. I think also we'll give them to the Tax Review Commission also to put on their website for people just to have a look and read and see what other people are saying and maybe make contributions to that. Then I think the review process goes on from there. I think the committee has their own timetable. I think they should be finalizing by maybe mid next year. I'm not too sure, but it should be next year.
Thank you, doctors, for your time.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you very much.
Once again, Dr. Osborne Sanida and Dr. Francis Odongo from the National Research Institute.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight on Resource PNG. If you want to know more about the program, do email us on this address. That's resourcepng@emtv.com.pg, or check out EMTV online. That's www.emtv.com.pg, and go to our resource PNG page, and you can also check out our page on Facebook. Until the same time next week, have a pleasant evening.